I recently attended a Goodwill event where business leaders, employers, and community members came together to discuss second chance employment. As someone who grew up in foster care, faced obstacles, and was given opportunities by people who believed in me, this topic hits close to home. Second chance employment is about giving qualified people an opportunity to work, contribute, and rebuild their lives.
It's your boy Thuggizzle, man. We are here today for an important event that is hosted by Goodwill, and it's for second chance jobs. And if you know me like you know second chance is for everybody. That's what helped me, So I'm gonna go speak to him right now. Y'all follow me.
Our next speaker, I'm so excited. I heard him speak in 2023 at the Top Casting Meeting. He has a fantastic story. He's a hip-hop artist, a business owner, and a philanthropist. And his story is inspiring. That's why we're here today. So I'd like to welcome Philip Hodge, Thuggizzle, to the stage.
Yo. Hey, if y'all sleep, I'm gonna wake y'all up, As a hip hop artist, we're loud, we're always ready to go, right? First of all, I just want to thank everybody for coming in today and taking the time to, listen, understand, and hopefully respond, right? My name is Philip Hodge, also known as hip hop artist Thuggizzle. I'm a San Antonio native, okay? I was raised here in shelters, group homes, and just want to share a little bit of my story so that way we can understand why it's important to give second chances, okay? Coming from the shelters, the group homes, and aging out of the foster care system, I had my challenges, not just in the system, but once I got out of the system, because, sometimes as youth, when they come out of the system, there's no guidance. It's kind of like, they just throw you out there and you got to figure it out. So here I am, aging out of the system, which can lead you to become a product of your environment. Because without the leadership, you find yourself going back to what you knew and what you saw. So I had trouble, when you're young, you're pointing fingers at everybody like, man, it's their fault, right? But as I got older, I understood, behavior, right? So my behavior got my level of care to rise to where I didn't qualify to be in a foster home no more, because one of the ladies that worked at the shelter hung up the phone while I was in the middle of a conversation with my foster mom trying to get understanding. So I got angry and I threw that phone on the ground and walked out, but this time I wasn't running away. I was, it was more of a bluff. I said, I'm gonna go sit outside in the front, hopefully, maybe somebody will come look, maybe they don't. Well, what ended up happening is Travis County police showed up. And when they showed up, they walked right past me and went inside the shelter. And they were in there for about 30 minutes, to me it felt like an hour, could have been. He came back out, he said, "Is your name Philip Hodge?" I said, "Yes sir, it is." He said, "Well, stand up and put your hands behind your back." I said, "Well, what's going on?" He said, "Well, did you throw a phone on the ground?" I said, "I did." He said, "Well, when you threw that phone on the ground, it bounced up and hit a lady in the toe. So you're being arrested for assault and bodily injury." So at the age of 16, I was booked into Travis County Jail. And, man, I was just like, but that was like reality, you know what I mean? Because when you don't have family and, people to really depend on in those kind of situations, you're lost. So I was in there for about a month, and that felt like 10 years to me. I never been to jail before, you know what I mean? So we ended up having another court day, I believe. The caseworkers ended up showing up, I got released, and from there, I remember talking to this Hispanic guy, and he was like, "Hey man, if you got warrants, they're gonna bring you back upstairs." And I had already been in jail, so I'm like, I ain't going back. He was like, "Well, when they open the door, man, you gotta run. We'll both run together. We'll run again." So we ran across that field. And I got to the payphone and I called my caseworker at the time. I'll never forget them, case manager and caseworker. And so from there they took me to Boys Town, which is downtown. And then from there I go to a foster home in Corpus. Well, I get to the foster home in Corpus and I get kicked out. 50 cops escorted me out of that foster home. I found myself walking down the street with 2 bags. I ended up, had a friend there that was in a grade higher than me. He had just graduated. And he was like, man, because they all knew that I was in the foster care system. And they were like, man, the best I could do for you, man, is kind of, get you on a bus, So here I am on a Greyhound bus with two, you know, broken trash bags, and I'm trying to get back to the foster home, you know, here in San Antonio. But when I get back there, they're like, well, you can't stay here, you know, no more. And I was like, wow, man, like, you know, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? Well, that's when Job Corps was brought up to me. So I ended up going to Gary Job Corps. And this is why second chance is important. Because when I went to Gary Job Corps, I never knew that I was good at anything. All I thought I was a mess up. So by getting into SGA and, you know, all of this training, when I got in front of those students, I was able to get them to understand what we needed to do. I also became a CNA, Certified Nurse's Assistant. And, you know, after this, I started trying to get jobs. Well, remember the story I told you earlier, you know, the arrest. When I got out of Job Corps, I went to jail for truancy. It was, you know, these were challenges. So I'm in jail for truancy with a CNA license, everything. I went to go try to get jobs. I could not get a job. Nobody, man, it didn't matter that I had the CNA, none of the good stuff mattered. What they saw was, man, you got an assault and bodily injury. Nobody cared that it was a phone and it hit a, nobody looks at none of that stuff. When you get into anything.
There is data today that shows that individuals who go through this process not only increase their chance of getting employed, but also increase their earning potential and income very quickly after going through this process.
I think the advantage is when you can live where you want to live, get the job you want to have, and even in business. You know, I'm a business owner, so there are people that may pull your background and say, hey, I don't want to work with you because of what's on your background. So the advantage that I've had working with easy expunctions is being able to get these things removed and not have them held against me.
So that's why I try to tell you, you don't know how important second chances are until you understand what that can do for these people that are looked at as a downfall. Any one of us can make a mistake. I mean, what about those people that weren't taught right, weren't raised right? You know, you could be taught one thing. You know, when I met my late great best friend, his name is Billy Bob Wells, okay? He passed away 2017, my best friend in the whole world. He really helped structure me. But he told me, hey, we gotta untrain some things, okay? You know? And I was like, well, you know, what you mean? He was like, well, you know, there's some things that, you know, you got going on that just don't work. Do they? I mean, I was like, no, I mean, that's why I'm telling y'all second chance is important. Because you may look at somebody and prejudge them. You ask anybody, Philip Hodge, because people know me, Thuggizzle, but they also know Philip Hodge, right? And Thuggizzle is the entertainer, the hip hop artist, but Philip Hodge, yo, he's a businessman. So so many people every day, they cry on my shoulder. These are the things that come from second chance, because if I didn't get a second chance, how could I be out here doing this kind of work? And it's important for people to understand second chance, you know, because those programs help shape a man like myself. So today in my life, I own a water company. So I have a spring water that's here in a lot of stores. So this is motivation to anyone out there that has come from situations where it felt like my life was over. Because I could have felt like that, and without a second chance, you breed that behavior. If I go try to get a job and I may have made a mistake and you don't hire me, you can trigger me to resort back to the only thing that I know. Because see, what helped me was someone believing that there was something better in me. You know, so I stand here today as not, you know, no one who's perfect. I'm imperfected. I still make mistakes daily, you know. So that's why I'm a believer, because I got to go to God and be like, hey, God, you know, can you know, you said you would take care of this, you know what I'm saying? And even with these chances you get, you have to make a decision in your life that you're ready to stop, you know, doing the things that were hindering your life and start doing the things that help your life. Because it's not an easy process at all. You know, I mean, I still go through stuff today and struggle today, but it's not the same struggle. And I'm grateful for the people that, you know, believe in second chance. I think that everyone that's in this room today, you know, you really should pat yourself on the back for even taking the chance to come here and hear stories like this, because these are, and I'm grateful for, you know, everyone in this room. I'm grateful if you ever get a chance, you know, get out there and try some of that Thuggizzle water. And I'm living proof that, you know, the world can define you anyway, but God is the last definition of who you are. You guys have a great one, and thank you so much.